The sun was bright and ordinary, the kind of afternoon where the world felt peaceful to everyone except the three girls who felt their hearts tighten the moment the school bell rang. Children poured out of Jefferson Suburban School laughing, backpacks bouncing, voices filling the warm air with innocence. But for Arya Thompson, her younger sister Hazel, and their quiet friend Mina, the laughter around them sounded like something from another universe. Every step they took toward the quiet road behind the school felt like walking into the same nightmare they'd been living for weeks. For older boys, Brett, Ryan, Mason, and Cole waited for them every day, treating the quiet street like their personal hunting ground. And today, as the girls walked with their eyes fixed ahead and their fingers gripping their backpack straps, they felt that familiar rush of fear tightening their chests. The dread of what was coming. The dread of being cornered again. Arya was 16, strong-willed, and protective to her core. Hazel, only 14, was gentle, too gentle for the harshness they faced. Mina, quiet and thoughtful, hid her fear behind her glasses, but her hands always shook the moment the boys appeared. They had put up with everything. Mocking, shoving, their belongings stolen and thrown on the ground, while adults looked out from windows but pretended not to see. Teachers dismissed it because it happened off school property. The community had grown used to the bullies, whispering their names like an accepted curse. But today, something was different. Something was about to change. The girls stepped onto the quiet neighborhood road, lined with perfectly trimmed lawns and neatly parked cars. And the boys stepped directly in front of them. Brett yanked Hazel's backpack and dumped all her notebooks across the pavement. Mina's books were kicked toward the gutter. Arya was shoved so hard she crashed into the bushes, her palms scraping on the grass. Still, the girls tried to stay quiet, hoping it would end quicker, but the boys were bolder than ever. Too confident, too cruel. What none of them knew was that fate had placed 3 men on that road today. 3 men who would not look away. A group of bikers from a nearby veterans riding club were taking their usual scenic route through the neighborhood. Rowan Kaler, their leader, rode in front, a man in his late 40s, with a weathered face, sharp eyes, and a calm exterior that could silence chaos. Behind him rode Logan Creed, tall and broad with shoulders like stone walls, and Hunter Vale, steady and disciplined, a man who never ignored danger. Rowan slowed his motorcycle when he saw movement ahead. What he expected was children walking home. What he witnessed was Hazel falling to ground, scraping her knee, and Brett laughing at her tears. Rowan hit the brakes, so hard the tires screeched. 3 motorcycles halted in perfect formation, engines rumbling low like a warning sent by fate itself. Arya froze. Hazel wiped her tears. Mina stopped breathing for a moment. The bikers, tattooed, strong, and massive, removed their helmets slowly. Their eyes locked onto the scene. These weren't just bikers. They were veterans who had seen real battles, real danger, real cruelty. And what they saw in front of them shook something deep inside them. Logan's eyes darkened. Hunter's jaw tightened. Rowan stepped forward with a calm but unstoppable stride. The boys, who moments ago felt invincible, now watched the 3 men walk toward them like a wall of steel. Their arrogance wavered. Fear replaced confidence. Brett tried to act tough, but his hands trembled. Rowan didn't shout. He didn't need to. His silence carried more power than any raised voice. Logan and Hunter positioned themselves beside Rowan, their expressions carved in stone. The girls stood behind them, still catching their breath. Rowan pointed at the scattered notebooks. "Pick it up," he said, his voice low but sharp enough to cut the air. The boys hesitated. But the entire street had stopped watching from windows. Adults stepped outside. Parents paused. Neighbors who always looked away now stood still, finally witnessing the truth they had ignored for too long. The boys kneeled, picking up every item they had thrown. Rowan didn't let them rush. He made them look at the girls, face to face, and apologize properly, not muttered apologies. Real ones. Their humiliation wasn't punishment. It was accountability. It was the first time anyone had ever made them face the consequences of the hurt they caused. The girls watched with wide eyes, not believing what they were seeing, not believing how quickly the world became safe when someone stood up and said, "This ends now." Rowan knelt slightly to Hazel, checking her scraped knee with surprising gentleness. Logan asked Mina if she was okay. Hunter handed Arya her bag and said softly, "You don't have to feel alone anymore." When police arrived, called by a neighbor who had finally found their courage, the boys were questioned, their parent confronted, and warnings were issued. Serious ones. And the bikers stayed until the girls felt safe enough to walk home. The next day, everything changed. Brett, Ryan, Mason, and Cole avoided the road entirely. They lowered their eyes in the hallway. They stayed away from everyone. And word spread fast, not of fear, but of respect. The Veterans Riding Club had stepped in, not with violence, but with strength and compassion. The community woke up. Teachers listened. Parents took action. And for the first time in weeks, Arya, Hazel, and Mina walked home with their heads high, breathing freely, laughing again. Every afternoon, the bikers rode past the school. They didn't stop. They didn't interfere. They just nodded at the girls. A silent promise. You're safe now. And sometimes, Mara realized later, heroes don't need capes or badges. Sometimes they come wearing leather, covered in tattoos, riding roaring engines that chase darkness away. If this story touched your heart, please share, comment, and subscribe to Kindness Corner. Tell us, have you ever seen someone stand up for what's right when no one else would? Because kindness should always win, and courage is contagious.